Just going to be taking a look at the bracket. Believe is sitting in losers semis, and he'll be facing either Seraph or Kai down there. And of course, the loser of this will face the winner of Believe versus Seraph or Kai.
So. Either way, it's looking really good. So, and you know, Believe has made a pretty decent, like has made his way through the entire lower bracket. We saw him in the first match of today, and he put up a really good fight, but he ended up going down to EJK's Terran, which has continued to do extremely well in this qualifying tournament right now. And I'm kind of psyched to see if there's a chance that Believe will come back, or if he's going to have to, well, relinquish his attempt at this particular qualifier and let someone else try to do the finals for him. We'll end up seeing how that turns out. So, what do you think? Like, what's next for us right now?
Yeah. Well, for game number 2, I'd say go towards a bit of a more linear map for our Zerg player. As SteAdfaSt, I wouldn't say it would benefit EJK or SteAdfaSt entirely, but it'd be a lot easier for SteAdfaSt to do the more normal style that he tends to have, as well as versus the possibility of mech play. He has the ability to take out bases a lot easier.
One of the things that I noticed that was very interesting in his build last time was that he went for that he went for the Vespian gas as early as he possibly could. Like he went almost as quickly as he did in that one game where he went Zergling Rush. And in the first game that you saw him play, he was normal build that we're used to seeing him play, and he won that one very, very handily. Like it wasn't it wasn't a crushing victory or anything, but it certainly was, like we said before, slow, ponderous, but sure. It was a very solid victory. And since then, we haven't seen him do his normal kind of build. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see if SteAdfaSt decides to just go for his 3 hatchery build that you mentioned before. But I'd also be interested to see him go for something a little bit more aggressive in that map. Going for mechs takes time, and at least from what I could see, and time is something that you can take away from a player very quickly if you play your Zerg in certain ways.
Well, right now it looks like Iron Fortress is going to be map number 2. Not quite the map I had in mind, but it could work for SteAdfaSt. The third bases are very far, but once you get your third, it's very easy to get a fourth. And it also does prevent the ability for our Zerg players, or for our Terran players, to get a lot of the quick gas that they need to get their mech going. But who do we have here over on the top left?
In the top left, playing your blue Zerg, the one, the only, the SteAdfaSt. And who do we have in the bottom right corner?
Well, over in the bottom right, we have our red Terran player, the only American today. It is EJK.
So as things start up right now, it's your pretty typical opening. Both players going for the economic, going for their economy as quickly as possible. Scouting out to the right with the Overlord off on SteAdfaSt's side of the field. Then, that's just what the Overlord's doing, is just scouting as best as he can. Do you expect to see some Zerglings early, just that way he can scout out this massive map, or do you think he's just going to let his Overlords do that and just revert to what he's good at?
Well, he does have 2 Overlords. They're already heading across to the top right and top left. Now, as much as you would like to know what your opponent is doing, it's definitely a good start to know where your opponent is. So seeing there's nothing in the top right, eventually seeing that there's nothing over in the bottom left, then he'll know, okay, you're cross map, and he can probably be a bit safer with that, as well as he'll know, okay, this is a bit of a longer rush distance. And I'm not sure if he's going to be going for the very aggressive kind of style, but to start things off, SteAdfaSt will be going for a 14 hatch down at his natural
Yeah, so that's going to be a second hatchery. We got the second command center coming out of EJK as well, so both players going for early expansions. And both players opting out of picking up any real gas until just now. SteAdfaSt building his extractor as quickly as he just has, and still no gas coming out of the Terran player, which is interesting. Instead, he's going for a third command. No, it's just the second command center. Sorry, I got a little bit lost there. But he does have his barracks building, so he is going to start building some military units. But by the look of his build, do you think he's going Marines?
I'd have to say so. The Reaper, or the refinery, is a bit late, actually. Just gets thrown down. It's just close enough where you can still get a Reaper, but I feel like it might be a better choice to just go for the couple Marines, especially since, you know, you don't know where your opponent is, you don't know what your opponent's doing, and you have a command center on the way. It's probably better to just go for a bit more of the defense.
And speaking of defense, that spawning pool now finished being built, so we got our queen being birthed at the main hatchery and at the expansion hatchery as well. The Zerg player, SteAdfaSt, doing his best to just get that economy up and rolling as quickly as possible. We got some drones moving down to this expansion as well to help speed up the recovery of minerals. And no drones working on this extractor yet. The extractor's been built. No Vespene gas apparently going to be needed, really.
Yeah. He got up to enough gas to get the metabolic boost, and then took it off so that way he could get a few more minerals, get some overlords out, it appears. But on the flip side of things, EJK, he's going to be throwing down his factory. He's got a bunker up, probably going to be throwing down a reactor, and will be doing just that of the main ramp for this barracks. But SteAdfaSt, he's got a baling nest on the way with metabolic boost. He's got a handful of Zerglings in the production queue. He could be looking to get pretty aggressive here.
And that's probably a good thing, considering just how tough it can be for a Zerg player to breach Terran defenses sometimes. It takes a lot of resources to do that from what I've been noticing so far. And EJK right now, not making it easy. He's got lots of bunkers, plenty of supply depots to help wall it all off, and another command center coming out to block off another joint off to his main area. But will it be enough? We're going to have to find out, as SteAdfaSt going very aggressive and bringing in the Zerglings as they start to take down the first unit to go down to the game. This SCV is running as fast as it can. It's going to run just into range of the bunker. The bunker going to take first blood and take out that Zergling.
Yeah. Now, SteAdfaSt, he did a good job where he pulled back the rest of his Zergling force, so that way the SCV only saw the two. But now the wall is actually going to be down as the Hellions were trying to get out. The Zergling's going to be able to get right around this bunker. It's going to go down. The Baneling's going to be able to walk straight on in. The SCVs are all clumped up at the main ramp, going to be able to take down the supply depots and the reactor. And now it's just a couple of Hellions to deal with so many Zerglings, Slowel.
And the SCVs are coming in to help, but at what cost? SCVs are very expensive to take off of minerals. This is a huge resource win coming out of these Zerglings and out of the Zerg player, as another wave of Zerglings makes its way in, a couple of them just smacking out the command center. The rest of them, let's go ahead and play Chase the Hellion, as the Hellion takes a pretty distinct beating and finally goes down. SCVs trying to back up as much as possible. The Zerglings are still coming in. The SCVs are still helping. Instead of mining, there's only one SCV mining minerals on the main base, and that's quickly going to change as the rest... Nope. Yes, the rest of the SCV is going to help deal with the Zerglings. More Zerglings coming in, and that's going to be a GG called in favor of SteAdfaSt, taking Game 2, which is going to bring us to our Game 3 in this finals, in the winner's bracket finals.
Indeed, and... Oh, never mind.
That was crazy. That was awesome. Like,
yeah, it was definitely a very good switch for SteAdfaSt. That, you know, as we were saying before game number 2, mech is a very slow style. It has a lot of build-up time. If you can hit before that, you can just cut it, nip it in the bud, and you'll be sitting pretty with looks to be a game win.
But in this case, SteAdfaSt going for that really early aggressive kind of play, went for the Zerglings, went for the Banelings, that one move that you pointed out, where the Zerglings, like he pulled the rest of his Zerglings back and just showed off the 2, that's what won him the game, I think. Because like like we saw, he left the supply depot down, and that just let the floodgates open. And it wasn't even a Trojan horse; it was just a horde of Zerglings. They didn't even bother to have a door up in the first place because of that play, and that cost him dearly. Like his SCVs had to come and help out, and they ended up all dying too. Like that was brutal. That was a really, really good move on his part, and excellent, and an unfortunate mistake on EJK's part, not putting that supply depot up as quickly as he could have. So that's going to be your game 2. SteAdfaSt taking it and evening out the score 1-1. Now we got to get into a game 3. What do you think is going to happen in game 3?
I feel like SteAdfaSt will be sticking with the quicker, aggressive, more kind of style. Since EJK has been known to go for the mech kind of play. But EJK, I think he's going to be sticking with what he's been doing over the past couple times. Except, maybe he might be going for a Reaper or 2, and delay his expansion just a bit.
I have a feeling that makes a lot of sense to me, just because I haven't seen a Reaper out of a Terran player in a little while, and it's whenever I've seen Reapers that the Terran player has been able to do a little bit better. With his play, because that Reaper can do a lot of damage. We especially saw that in EJK versus Believe, when that one Reaper was able to take out several probes before finally going down. And we haven't seen a Reaper since. We've seen what could have been a Reaper a couple of times, but they were a bit too slow, or they just weren't planning on it. I'd really like to see a Reaper out of EJK this time. I'd like to see that against the Zerg player and have it work. Because the only other time that I saw a Reaper come out was with 0, and it was too late to actually make a big difference. But that's not up to us, that's up to the players. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with these two. I love both of their styles of play. I think that they're both really active, they're both a lot of fun. I'm excited to get this started.
Well, game number 3.